Um, there are, of course, many challenges within the Mekong region. The one we address looks at the ways in which development impacts the rivers of this part of the world. And the reason why this matters is that development is being implemented very, very rapidly. This is a part of the world where dams are going up at a formidable rate. And of course, these are important. They contribute towards electricity and energy creation. They contribute towards national income because countries can sell them to neighboring countries and so on. But the impacts are very considerable. And this is also part of the world where very large numbers of people are extremely dependent on the rivers and their ecosystems for their livelihoods. There's a great intimacy between rivers and how people live. And so if there are negative impacts from these kinds of development interventions, the knock-on effects could be very, very considerable. The Mekong River is the second most biologically diverse river in the world, and it also supports the world's largest inland fishery, in excess of 2 million tons of fish a year. And dams being constructed within its basin are likely to affect fisheries production fairly significantly. And one of the ways in which they do this is by blocking passage for migrating fish. And there hasn't been a good record of mitigation in the Mekong, and where it's been tried, it hasn't been very, very successful. And the usual way in which we try to mitigate impacts on fisheries is using something called fish ladders, and these allow fish to essentially move up a channel to get over the dam wall and then continue on their migration. And these haven't worked. So one of our projects borrowed experience from South America, and what they'd done with very considerable success there was to take advantage of already existing streams immediately downstream of the dam, and then to connect the last bit via a small or short channel upstream of the dam. And what we're trying to do with that, and that's a very, very clear solution, is to persuade the developers of one of the most damaging dams to implement this technology. Is on the one hand is engaging together with Chinese universities, and here I'm thinking particularly about the University of Yunnan, and the work that the Asia International River Center has been doing there, particularly with respect to China's international rivers that include the Salween, the Irrawaddy, of course the Mekong and the Red River. All of these are the rivers that we work on. And then also, in addition to that, to work together with financial interests in Yunnan. These are banks that provide the financing for Chinese dams and who have a very specific interest in making sure that the dams being constructed are done in a way that minimize risk as far as possible. And of course, financiers are very sensitive to risk. And so this provides us with a very significant opportunity to provide guidance and advice and indeed solutions to some of the potential problems that their countries' dam builders will confront. We have a very good engagement with the Ministry of Environment in Cambodia. And it was during an early meeting with the Minister of Environment where he complained to me that he understood very well that there were very significant negative impacts from hydropower on the fisheries of his country, and that when he went to ministerial meetings or had meetings with his Prime Minister, there was nothing that he could sort of simply put on the table in front of him by way of evidence to demonstrate the relationship between hydropower development and fisheries decline. And that actually had a very profound effect on how we developed our communication strategy, was to really think about precisely that. What if we could take all of the best science that explores the impact of hydropower on fisheries and condense that into a product that was easily understandable, was short, that was a key criteria, and which would indicate both what we definitely do know, but also what we don't know, the gaps in our knowledge. And from that, we've developed a whole series of what we call the State of Knowledge papers. And I like this particular story just because it was just a throwaway comment from a minister that then resulted in an enormous amount of activity on our part in order to address it.